Welcome back. Playing on the Great Pumpkin a little bit more. I got my assistant Ed right here. She's going to help me repair the dash pad you see right here. That's one of the things to get back in on the interior. I keep working on getting things all finished up and wrapped up because the car is really coming together quite well now. We've got a few little things to finish up. So I have the seats to do, door panels. I have a little bit of glass installation. But anyway, we're going to get into repairing the dash. That's what the video is going to be about here. Let me show you what we have to work with and a plan to fix it. All right, now what we have here, this is the original 1968 dash that was in this car. It has the chrome trim that rides on the face of it. I've already removed that for our repair process, but here's what we're combating. Cracks, splits. This thing all in all is actually in pretty good shape for being an original dash, but we're going to wrap the thing, which you see out here on the hood of the GTO, big old sheet of vinyl. That's really like about the right texture. Clearly the wrong color. That's not the problem. I want to use that material. We're going to stretch it over this and make this thing look nice, new, and even. But if we try to stretch it over top of these cracks that it currently has, well, it's going to this is a raised spot, and it's not going to adhere so well. So we need to actually clean these cracks up, fill them in with something, and then wrap it with the vinyl. And this is kind of a new experiment for me. I've normally just bought those hard plastic dash caps. This kind of goes over top of them and paint them to match the interior, but I'm just not as excited about that cover as maybe trying to repair this dash. So it's a little bit of an experiment. I did one of those hard cover things there in the Transmarauto, and I don't really love it. But the under dash is cracked way worse than this one is. But if this technique works, then you'll see me probably ripping the dash out of the Bird and doing the same thing to it. But since she's going to be here today, it's going to go a whole lot more good, or I guess a lot easier. But the plan is we're going to use this plastic well stuff here. It says everything and even vinyl down here. Does a great job of bonding. Still stays, somewhat flexible, kind of like the dash pad has a little bit of flex to it. So when we're all said and done, it should still feel really close to original. I've got a heat gun because we're going to need to stretch that vinyl to come over the sides here. I'm going to try to do this by putting a crease in it right here. Now, it may or may not be successful. That's what we're going to find out. And of course, this is the grinder we're going to use to really kind of clean this areas out, because you can see when it splits, it kind of tapers up this way and this way. So we need to take all that out so it's nice and even, like similar to doing body work, but not nearly as critical. Got a bunch of little spring clamps to help hold the vinyl on once we get it positioned, and our glue gun that she's going to use and do some gluing for us. But first thing, let's get in here and clean these cracks out and get them in preparation ready for put the epoxy in. Now we're going to start off with a little right angle grinder. This is 36 grit paper, so it's going to cut pretty quick, but I'm just going to basically just level this thing off real good. So in preparation, what we need to do, I'm not going wide open with this thing either, just enough to take off a layer of plastic. And the other thing is it's actually, if you spin it fast, it builds up heat, it'll actually just kind of gum up the works anyway. Now that I've got them kind of leveled off, that went pretty quick. I'm going to kind of V-groove it out just a little bit. If not, it might be really thin around the edges. Check this out. Come here. See how it's actually kind of notched out? Probably a little deeper than I needed to go, but I didn't want it to be too thin around the edges. Now there's the other two cracks. All right, found it right there's the one. It's pretty minor, and the other one's right there. It shows up in the camera or not, but all we're gonna do is just groove these out. I'll do the same with this one. That's working. I'm gonna mix up some epoxy and we'll get these filled in. This is our plastic weld. I happen to get the black color. There's different colors, cream color, I think white, black, whatever, but it's gonna get wrapped. It doesn't really matter on the color, but we're gonna mix up just enough to kind of fill these up. It's probably gonna take 2 passes to fill in the really bad spots, but it comes with a cool little mixing tray. Like so. And we're gonna mix up about the perfect amount. Like I really know. Mix thoroughly. And it comes with a little stirry stick and a tray and everything. Now this stuff sets up about 5 minutes, so it'll go pretty quick. And the hotter it is, of course, the faster it reacts also. I've already taken compressed air and blew these out. I didn't think I put that on camera though. So we're literally just gonna fill these things in. And so this bonds really nice to the vinyl and still stays flexible. So by the time it's all done, when we wrap it, it should have a pretty original feel, I hope. It doesn't have to be beautiful because this stuff kind of works like body filler. You can actually sand and grind on it once it's set off. So just kind of filling in the low spots is the plan right now. And we got professional Ed, the camera lady here, so she gets some pretty good footage, I hope. I may actually get this all in one pass. If not, no big deal. There's still quite a bit. It's only one tube, but you can see a little goes a long ways of this stuff so far. Okay, we'll give that about 5 to 10 minutes. Go. We're going to go ahead and go back and knock down the high spots here with 36 grit. So try to keep this flat on the surface is the plan. Then we'll come back here with my DA. I have 80 grit paper on it, and we'll really kind of feather edge it out. But I suspect we're going to need a little more right there. But this stuff sets up. It's only been about 5 minutes, but it's dry, but still, pliable. So it has the original dash feel. So I'm just using this to really knock the rough off so it gets the shape real quick. Knocked all down with a 36 grit. Now we're going to hit it with the DA here and really kind of clean up the edges, but I'm fairly certain we're going to need a little more, one more pass of filler here. Now you can identify where there's still obviously very dark in color here. We didn't sand in these areas whatsoever. So need to mix up just a little bit more and fill in those spots. I think we should be good.
It's really smooth.
Yeah, the second pass, it just basically filling in little pinholes and little imperfections. So it does lay out a lot smoother as I can see here. Looking really good. I think we'll let this sit. A little spot here I want to do. Alright, well, let's let that sit. We'll do the same thing. Well, this is all set up again. Same process, 36 grit, and then hit with the 80 grit and the DA. We'll level all this off, and it should be the last pass. So what do you think, Ed? Look pretty good?
It's smooth.
Smooth? Did that work?
Yeah.
I say, well, the next thing now, we'll go ahead and get this thing all cleaned up, wipe it all down in preparation for some glue and see how that goes. Next thing we're going to do is hit it with some Scotch-Brite, some rubbing alcohol. We're going to scrub into all the grain of the vinyl. Get this really clean so this adhesive bonds real good to this surface. And this is what I did 2 weeks ago. I actually did a little testing on this to make sure that was going to bond good. Actually, this thing sit outside in the sun, pushed on it, pried on it. Super, really strong bond with this stuff. So I'm pretty confident this is going to work just fine and be a relatively good solution as opposed to buying a repop dash. If you guys have ever gotten into buying a replacement dash for 69 birds in particular, they're not any good. I have yet to find one that's great. So if this technique works on this is probably how I'm going to do them from now on. But nonetheless, go ahead and scrub this thing all down, get it all ready for glue, then we'll start stretching the vinyl over this. Interesting, right? And done.
Ta-da!
Yeah. Now the thing about it, I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't got the exact plan figured out how I want to do this yet. But the basic idea is we're going to stretch this thing over it, and that way you get the nice texture of the grain of the vinyl again, and we're going to dye this to match the interior. But the tricky part is going to be, how do we work this around this side here and make it look nice and even? So I haven't really figured all that out yet. That's the thing. I'm going to spend some time here. I'm going to work on using my little spring clamps here. Yeah, we're going to clamp it on, and we'll work on trying to figure out the best way to stretch this to make it look like it belongs. So give me a few minutes, and I'll get back to you. See what go. Here's what I've determined. Yeah, I have no idea. We're just going to fake it till I make it. I kind of positioned it on here. I'm going to try gluing the top first, then kind of stretch it over the side. But other than that, I really just no great way. But my really definite goal is the part that you can see in the vertical piece here on the front. Get it where there's no wrinkles or lines in that. And then if I have to, I'll put a fold here on the edge, lay it over top and stuff, one little line, and the A-pillar trim will cover it up. But I'm going to try to not do that, but it wants to move around too much. We're just going to glue basically a big section at the top here first, then try to stretch it and use the glue to help hold it in place and see how it goes. So I got the paint gun all loaded with a little bit of glue. We'll go ahead and do that, unless my helper wants to do the gluing. Okay, trade me out. We'll give you the camera, I'll give you the paint gun. Pause it like that. Ready, Eddie?
Yeah.
All right, what we're going to do, I want you to paint imaginary line about 1.5 inches. Don't do that. Only do from like here to here, back and forth a little bit, okay? All right, go ahead and give her a shot. You keep it pointed down a little closer to the... All right, no, do it right there. Go for it. Keep going. That looks real good. All right, let's go with that. Now we got to paint the inside of the material though too, but I'll get that. But looks pretty good. This stuff's all dry to the touch. You don't want it like completely dry, but it shouldn't come back off with your fingers. So we're good. This is the same contact cement, and I use to glue the roof on, so it should be some pretty good stuff. At least my plan is to stick this to itself, and I'll use that kind of like a clamp, I hope.
What was that?
Oh, the clamps fell down. Okay. Now the plan now that hopefully stays stationary. Yeah, that's actually holding much better than the clamps did. So now what I want to do, come around over here. So this is going to stay, well, I want you to bring the camera, it's going to hit this way. I'm going to try to stretch it into this groove. So I'm going to start, I'm going to kind of pull it back this direction. Really tight. That's actually holding good now. And this is where the heat gun is going to probably come into play a little bit. I'm still kind of experimenting right now because I said the clamps just wouldn't hold up like I wanted it to. I don't know if that's still gonna work. Well, this is tricky. It may just have to be that I have to put a seam like this right here in that corner. So, set, go. All right, here's what we determined. I flipped this thing upside down. Here, we'll give you some perspective. This is upside down. I glued the top that we showed you. Now I'm working on the idea with this. I think what I've determined is going to be the best. I made a little mark, but we're going to pull a stretch over the leg here, or the vertical post of that dash piece. We're going to pull it relatively tight, I'm going to glue that first. And then what we'll do, being this is tight, it's going to stretch real nice. Then I can as you can tell, if I clamp it here and here, I'll hold this corner. I can tuck this in here, and that should pull in nice and tight for the part that we see. Now, the only thing is, I'm still going to end up with maybe a small one crease right here in the side of the dash. I don't think there's any way around it. I've tried stretching and pulling, and we don't seem to find the magic there. But again, the A-pillar cover is most set up. I don't think it's going to be bad, and it looks a whole lot better than a cracked up dash. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to glue this and get this set. I'm going to keep working on it, but we're going to get this part here set next with some glue. Where's my marker? There it is. I know I can paint with the glue. This stuff's pretty sticky, but it's still relatively forgiving. You can rework it a little bit. Once it sits for a couple of days, it might be a different story. It's silly string. Okay. We'll let that sit, and we'll see about stretching it over. Got it? Mm-hmm. We're live?
Yeah.
It's working?
Yeah.
You actually hit record?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Great. All right. Glue's all dry. I'm going to start here. I'm going to pull it tight while I try to stretch it up the back here. Hopefully, again, this is an experiment. And you guys get to join me with this whole nightmare because I just don't want to buy one of the re-pop dashes. I've just not been happy with those things.
Stretch.
Okay, I can see the silhouette of the dash. Now we all know this is the wrong color, but that's okay. I know a guy who can dye just the color we need. This is actually leftover material from another experiment that I never actually got to do on the door panel. But I liked it because once you see something, this stuff's like super stretchable and pliable, so it has a lot of give. It's pretty forgiving for the most part. It has a nice grain to it too, similar to the original dash. Not an exact match, but pretty close. It's actually looking real good there. Okay. Now, we'll start working, hopefully. I'm going to flip this thing back. Now the decision time here. What do we do with this? The top needs to definitely look right. And the vertical piece needs to look right. I think we're just going to end up with one little fold right here in the middle. I need to put some glue here. I can feel it's not sticking. Yeah, because I have no glue there. Alright, so I say we glue this and let that dry, and then we'll go at it some more.
Started.
Alright, glue's in place, dry, so we'll see about getting this pulled into place. I think the top of the dash is going to look good. That's the only thing I'm concerned with is we're going to have a little crease in here, but oh boy, it's starting to stick good. I mean, I'm okay with a little line here in the corner because it really gets covered up by the A-pillar trim. There's what I've decided. I've been working this. I've got it pretty much ironed out. There's no way around it, unfortunately, but it has a little flap here. Now, this is vinyl, and I've used this on that vinyl top. I can actually bond the two surfaces together. And this is the cool thing. The metal frame inside this dash, I can use my magnets again. So I'm going to go ahead and glue with this seam here, and I'll take my cardboard to help insulate and disperse it. But I'm going to clamp that with the magnets and let that sit. And that should pull the seam super tight and clean. And I can't say it won't be detectable, but very minimal visibility. And if anything, it's a signature that I did this car, and you guys can find it at the car show. But and this is actually a contact cement. I'm really supposed to let it sit, kind of like that spray adhesive. But I've learned that it actually really softens up that vinyl quite a bit. Then when it dries, it actually holds real good. But so we're going to use this cardboard here to help keep it nice and even. We're going to use the magnets here to hold this thing together while it cures. Now, while that's setting off, I'm gonna go ahead and glue the whole top of the dash and get all the way down the other end and hope to have the same results at the other end. Up close, here's how it's going. It looks pretty good. Now I've got to pull the front edge here leading towards the windshield and pull it tight and straight, but the rest of it's wrapping pretty decent. Now I've actually went ahead and tucked it all the way up inside here on the front edge. Did a really good job of getting that all glued. Now we're down to the same thing I already did on the driver's side. I'm going to pull this real tight and stretch it out. Then I'll do my same little seam, I think, right through here, and that should come out pretty good. This side's still drying. Those magnets, I'll tell you, these things are a lifesaver, but man, you gotta watch out. They will pinch your hand something fierce, so always be careful when using those. Once, I'll go ahead and get this side glued, and then we're gonna flip it over. One of the things I think if I were to do this over, I'd have a little more confidence and trim the fabric down a lot smaller. It'd be a whole lot easier, I think, to work with and stretch this thing over to the sides without having the whole bunch draped over the back here. But it was hard to guess where I was gonna put things at. I just wasn't 100% confident, so if anything going forward doing this next time, get, I guess, a better educated guess or trim it down to here, leave a little extra. But I think other than that, it's going pretty good. All right, passenger side done up just the same as I did the driver's side. Got the little fold in it, got it clamped down here, letting it set up, using the magnets to hold the shape. So I think the next thing here, we're going to flip this thing over and glue the leading edge. I need to pull it tight, get some of these wrinkles out, because once you pull it tight, look at that, they just kind of disappear. So I need to tension the other side, so we're going to flip this thing upside down, and then we're going to take my glue, flip this flap out of the way here, and then we're going to glue this whole edge here and then pull that leading edge up over itself nice and tight. So that should be just about, and I still got to do these side parts here, but listen, we'll just about wrap this thing up. Wrapped it up. We'll be just about done here pretty quick. We'll do the same thing. I'll glue both sides of this, pull this over tight, and that should help get rid of any of the kind of pockets in it here. Should be just about done. All right, give it a minute or two. Okay, now I basically just take this stuff, fold over itself, pull a little bit tight, put a little tension on it, and pull the wrinkles out of the back side, or I guess actually the top side. I've got this stretched over. What I got, I'll grab my scissors here. Got to trim around the mounting studs here. I'm going to keep it, there we go, pull it up tighter. Cut there, cut there. There we go. Now, this stuff's actually pretty sticky, that glue. I'm super happy with it. That's why I bought a gallon of that glue to begin with, because, well, I was going to do the vinyl top on the car, but I also was going to do the dash pad, possibly some door panels, and then the headlight, you need a little bit of this glue too, so it was cheaper to buy it by the gallon. And I think we're going to use quite a bit of it up, but really happy with this stuff. Pretty forgiving for the most part, but like I said, a few days later, this stuff sits up really, really, really tight. Well, that's a whole different story. Next thing we're going to do is trimming this thing out here and wrapping the vertical part here of the dash. Hey, camera lady.
Go ahead.
Go, ready?
Yeah.
And now we're going to trim this back. It's actually laid on the vertical pretty good, but we got to wrap around the back side. But we'll use our Harbor Freight scissors here. Nothing but the best for us. Actually, we're pretty good. Now, leave about, you can see how I'm cutting it about a 1/2 inch or 3/8 of an inch away from the edge of it. Well enough just to fold it over the back side. That gives the thing a lot more strength and makes it a little more durable. There we go. Now we'll cut here this part. Quite the camera person there, Ed. Thank you. I'm sure the viewers appreciate it. So you guys out there like the better camera angles, tell Ed she needs to come out here and help her dad be a professional camera person more often. So get more of the detail. But you can see what I'm doing here. I'm tucking all this in around the back side, kind of what the factory did anyway. Now I'm gonna run down this tray sides here. I'm gonna run down the inside here and do the same thing. Cut it about 3/8 of an inch or so from the edge. drifted a little further away, but that's okay. We're getting close to the corner here, and we'll trim this out. Stretch this over. Okay, now on the corner, just a couple little notches in it. That's it. Oh, that was the secret right there. Look at that. You almost think I knew what I was doing. Now this is an experiment, and I think it was an experiment gone very well. Now take a peek at this. No more cracks in it here. The real big crack was, I think, on one of the sides. Actually, I forgot what side it was on. But now it's still soft and pliable, similar to the factory dash. That looks really clean. Cool. There we go, all said and done. I went ahead and installed the trim that goes on the dash. I have that. It's in really great shape. This is the original. I went ahead and popped all the holes in it now because I got to get this thing dyed the autumn bronze to match the interior, but I wanted to show you how it all came together. That little seam, there was just no way around it. I figured out, but like I said, the A-pillar trim comes down right about here. Really very almost non-detectable, but the most important part is the top and the leading edge here. I'll tell you, looks really good. Feels like the factory. It's still soft and pliable to the touch, and it should be relatively durable and hold up for a long time. So I'm very pleased with the results. Definitely fixed the cracks first inside. That epoxy worked really nice. So hopefully this will help you out or give you some encouragement to do it. Now 67 will be a whole lot easier. It doesn't have these verticals on it. Wrap that thing right up and probably go right down the road. So it'll work out really easy as long as you have a good core to build on. This one wasn't too bad. Now if it was severely cracked, I can see using some like fiberglass in here and sanding that straight. That way it's a little more pliable and get you back going down the road real nice. But I'm gonna pop the trim here off of it, get this thing painted or dyed to match the rest of the interior and get it installed. All right, dash is basically completed for all intents and purposes. Now if your car had a black dash, get some black vinyl, wrap it up, finish, 100% finished. This one's got a custom color interior, so we're going to have to dye that to match, but that's the video for another day, or maybe I'll just go ahead and do it. It's as simple as basically mixing it up and painting it. Next go around, I'm going to work on the vinyl top in there. See if Ed can help me with the cam work again, if she wants to come out and play cars some more. And you can't see it because it's super sunny, but I have the vinyl top laid out, headliner sitting outside there in the sun to work the wrinkles out, get it all straightened out, because that's definitely step one to doing a headliner. Get it out of the box, get it laid out, sit it out in the sun, pull it kind of tight, put some weight on it, whatever you got to do, get some of the wrinkles worked out. It definitely helps a whole lot more gooder to get better results. So nonetheless, appreciate you following me on the journey of the Great Pumpkin. A little more little details here on the interior. About to wrap this thing up, and then we'll start on a new project that I got a couple ideas, some things in the works. Not 100% sure which way we're going to go, but stay tuned. You'll all find out. But next go around, probably doing a headliner video. I know you guys looking forward to that. Hope it goes out really good. Now, I've done those before, so should be a lot easier. This was just a new experiment, and I really like it. So hope you guys like this too. Appreciate you following me, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.